Hello everyone and welcome to Magic Gathering Strat. I'm Binkabi and this will be a very sweet top 8 list of Tiny Leaders combos. I do like combos once in a while, and I especially like combos that basically comes for free, that you can include in a regular deck and just win out of nowhere. Um, but of course, any combo that wins you the game is a good combo, and the fewer cards that is required, the better. This will be a top 8 list of the combos that I found most appealing, or combos that I have tried out myself that works and that is pretty good in the format, at least here where I live. So let's begin and see what combos that I have selected for this list. We're starting off with number 8, and that is Isochron Scepter plus or Enchant or Silence. It doesn't really matter, but or Enchant is a bit better. So what happens here is that you lock your opponent out of playing spells. Especially game 1, it could be really hard to get rid of artifacts and enchantments, and this combo also requires it to be at instant speed because they can never play sorceries again. So the combo is you play Isochron Scepter and imprint one of those, and then every time your opponent gets to their upkeep, you activate Isochron Scepter and make them unable to cast spells or unable to cast spells and attack. So it's a pretty neat combo. The downside of this combo, and the reason why it's just number 8, is that I like it when the pieces of a combo works well with the deck without each other, and Isochron Scepter works pretty good in the deck, or the decks where you can have this combo, but Orange Enchant or Silence is pretty poor. If you just cast them, it's like you don't get anything from that, so that's why it falls down on the list, because I don't think the pieces are good enough on their own. So then you're required to draw the combo, and in Tiny Leaders you only have one of each, and then you need to fidget around with some tutors or whatever to get it to work. So that's why it's only number 8. We will move on to the next one, which is number 7, and that is Rest in Peace plus Energy Field, another 2-card combo. What this one does is basically you can never take damage again. You play Rest in Peace, and then you play Energy Field, and then you can never put a card in your graveyard, so you will have permanent Energy Field. So you cannot take damage from sources you do not control. And as a bonus, you turn off all graveyard synergies. So this combo is perfectly acceptable. The thing with this one is that it doesn't actually win you the game. It makes it so that you're pretty unlikely to lose the game, but it won't help you win the game. So that's why it's way down on the list. On the plus side, it's really hard to get rid of. I mean, it has to be enchantment removal specifically, and decks that this combination is good against is mainly red decks, and red decks, well, they don't have that much to remove enchantments with, so if they don't have like Ratchet Bomb or something in the board, they would have a really hard time beating you. So that's pretty neat. And of course, as with the Isochron Scepter combo, those cards play pretty poorly with other cards. I mean, if you just play Energy Field, it's not gonna do what you want it to. The same with Rest in Peace. It's two basically dead cards on their own. Together they get really strong. So that's why it's way down on the list and not like number 1 or something. So yeah, let's move on to number 6, and it's actually a 3-card combination. It's Eternal Witness, Unearth, and Phyrexian Altar. And what this combination of cards does is you get infinite enter the battlefield triggers, or whatever you have to combine it with. So you play Eternal Witness, you get back Unearth, You sack Eternal Witness to Phyrexian Altar for 1 black, play Unearth, get Eternal Witness back, get Unearth back, sacrifice Eternal Witness, and just loop them. And that's pretty neat. It does require something else, and that's why it's only number 6. But what's good with this combination of cards is that all the cards are relevant on their own. Eternal Witness will always be good. Unearth will always be good in Tiny Leaders. It can return anything. And Phyrexian Altar, while being the worst card of the 3 on their own, it's still pretty good, and you can make other combination of cards that much stronger with the Phyrexian Altar. So even though it's not a game-breaking combination on their own, combine it with anything like Impact Tremors or what have you, you get infinite enter the battlefield triggers, and it's not hard to break that. And of course, if you don't want Unearth back with the last trigger, you can get something else back. So it's a pretty fun combination. It doesn't make you win the game on its own, and it doesn't make you unable to lose or anything, but with this ability, it's not hard to win a game. Let's just say that. Yeah, so let's move on to number 5, and it's another favorite of mine. It's Doomsday, and I elected Laboratory Maniac to be the pair with it. But you can have a few different Doomsday packages to win the game. But basically, what you do is you pay 3 black to cast Doomsday, and then you get to do the whole stack your library thing, and from that point it's so easy to win. If you know exactly what 5 cards you have, it should be no challenge to win at all. The downside here is, of course, that a very big portion of your deck is dead cards. Cards that doesn't do anything on their own or plays extremely poorly with the rest of the deck. But unlike the other combination of cards prior to this actually wins you the game straight up. It just says it here. You win the game. So that's why it's higher than the others, because this combo actually wins you the game. But it costs a lot more, and it requires a lot more of you as a player. So be aware of that. Although I have to say it's not that hard to play Doomsday. People are talking about all the different combination of cards you can get, but in reality you're always getting a few piles. So I think it's okay, but read up on the internet before, or ask someone who plays Doomsday what combination of cards you should use to win. Alright, let's move on to number 4. It's the Dark Depths combo together with Thespian Stage or Vampire Hexmage. So you get a turn, everything from turn 2 to, anyway, a pretty early 2020 flying Indestructible. This one would have been probably number 1 or number 2 had it not been for the increased life in Tiny Leaders. We're starting at 25 and not 20, so one hit from the Merit Lage token is not actually lethal, so that's a huge downside. That means that they can untap and play some kind of bounce spell or other sorcerers that you don't want them to be able to use. So that's the huge downside. Another downside is that cards like Vampire Hexmage and Thespian Stage is kind of hard to get some value out of besides this. But the biggest bonus with this one is that you get to recur it so easily. You get to play it alongside cards like Life from the Loam, and you get to just pump out a 20/20 flying Indestructible every other turn, or every turn if you have like Exploration. And there is few decks who can beat that. And you can start doing it very early, and that should win you the game. And that's the combination of cards I like to play with. They do stuff on their own for the most part, and you don't have to assemble it. You can win with like Beatdown, and you can have cards like Crop Rotation or some Self-Mill and Life from the Loam to get it together. So you can just incidentally get the combo together when you're battling someone on the battlefield and oops, now I got a 2020 flying indestructible. Good luck beating that. So I like the combination a lot, and yeah, so I'm gonna try this one out myself at our next tournament. I've been playing another combo that's a bit higher on the list, but yeah, we'll move on to number 3, shall we? Number 3 is another combo that I'm looking to try out myself as soon as we get the tournaments for it. I mean, it's hard to fit every combo into one deck. So, but Contamination plus Bitter Blossom or Squirrel Nest or just about any token producer means that a vast majority of the decks you're playing against will just be locked out of the game. So Contamination makes every land produce black mana instead of what they would produce. So if they're not playing a heavy black deck, they can never play a spell again. And the good thing about this is that Basics doesn't get around it either. So if you can go like turn 2 Bitter Blossom, they're kind of forced to do something. They have to play something to try to match your Bitter Blossom, and then you untap, play Contamination, and that's the game basically. Of course, your board has to beat their board, or your hand has to be able to put out more pressure, because the Bitter Blossom will be locked into feeding the Contamination, or the same with Squirrel Nest. So that's the downside, but other than that, this combination is super hard to get out of, and it will win you the game eventually. Unless, of course, as I said, the opponent is playing heavy black or mono black for that matter. So it's a bit risky, but you're already looking to play cards like Bitter Blossom and maybe Squirrel Nest, so it's not that high of a price to put it in your deck. Alright, let's move on to number 2. And that is actually a very sweet one that I just discovered, and it's Twin Flame plus Dual Caster Mage, which makes infinite hasty 2/2s. So it's basically Splinter Twin, but cheaper. So right off the bat, this has a very large downside, and it's that Twin Flame needs to have a target to begin with. So you have to have any random creature, basically anything. A 0/1 plant token will do just fine. You cast Twin Flame, keep priority, play Dual Caster Mage. With its enter battlefield trigger, you copy Twin Flame, that copies Dual Caster Mage. Then you get a copy of Dual Caster Mage that can copy the original Twin Flame, and so on, and you get infinite 2/2s with haste. And that's pretty easy to win with. And the good thing about the combination is that it's in a deck or decks that often forces your opponent to tap low, so it's not super likely that they can interact with the combo, and 5 mana while being a decent amount is not super unlikely to get to. So that's really nice, and Twin Flame actually plays decently with other cards. I mean, you can play this in a like blue-red tempo deck with some thing like Mana War or whatever, and then you get some extra value out of it. And Dual Caster Mage is always pretty sweet. You can copy your opponent's spells as well. So that's why this combo is number 2. The pieces are pretty good on their own, or actually very good on their own, and together they just win you the game. And that's exactly what I'm looking for when I'm trying to find a combo. Cards that just accidentally win you the game is pretty strong. So let's move on to number 1 on the list, the combo I've been playing the most, and it's Thopter Foundry, Sword of the Meek. So right off the bat, this combo breaks a few of my rules. They do not play well without each other. Thopter Foundry is not super good if you have to like sacrifice your good artifacts to use it, and the same goes for Sword of the Meek. It doesn't do anything when it's alone. But the fact that those cards goes into the perfect deck makes it such a strong contender. And of all the combos in this list, this is the most resilient and the easiest one to actually win you the game. So what you do is either you just cast them and start using them. That's one way. You can like wait to have 4 mana, cast one, and have some kind of response up, like a go for the throat or whatever, if you're afraid of what they're doing. You can mill Sword of the Meek, that doesn't matter, because then you just have to sack any other artifact and you get the combo going. And if you're like me, playing with Academy runes and stuff, it's very hard to break up the combo. And once it's in play, it doesn't take many turns for it to completely turn off your opponent's ability to win the game. You get a lot of jump blockers, a lot of life, and a pretty good attacking force. I mean, I've outraced a 17 powered Geist of Saint Traft with this. That's pretty awkward. 17 trample power, I should say. So that's pretty interesting, I have to say. I like the combo a lot, and I think it's pretty... It's cheap and it's easy to assemble and it's very resilient. It wins you the game and it prevents you from losing the game. It's doing everything I want in a combination of cards, and it goes into the right decks that could support them the best. So I had a hard time picking between number 1 and number 2, which I think is one notch above the rest of the combinations, just because of their win potential and easiness to assemble and resilience. But of course, Contamination and Dark Depths, and for that matter Doomsday as well, is still pretty good, and it could be swapped against the 1 and 2 if you prefer that. But I think number 6, 7, and 8, the Eternal Witness and Rest in Peace and Isochron Scepter combos are a bit lower than all the rest. So that's my pick for the best combos in Tiny Leaders. I hope you have had some kind of inspiration. Maybe you can build a new deck. Some of the combos shares colors and stuff, so you could potentially play like a Contamination, Bitter Blossom, Squirrel Nest, Eternal Witness, Unearth kind of stuff. So that's the video for today, and I hope you have enjoyed it. Please leave a comment and tell me what you think. So thanks for watching.